Hello, friends. A very happy new year to everyone. I am Sharan 2021 batch IPS officer. Right now it's 12 o'clock in the night. I am making this video with some purpose. I am making this video especially for those students, those aspirants who are going to write 2021 prelims. There are a lot of students, despite preparing well in advance their mains portion, their optional subject, their GS subject, despite writing mains test series, they are not able to secure the rank in the final list because they are not able to clear the prelims. Some people are very clueless about prelims. They are consistently failing in prelims. Some people clear prelims in one attempt and in the very next attempt they fail in prelims. Why does that happen? How you can utilize the next 4 to 5 months so that you can confidently clear the prelims? What all things are there that you should do that will help you to clear prelims? So there are few things which I did during my preparations which helped me to clear prelims. I'm here not to tell you that the way which I have adopted during my preparation will help you, but I am certain that you will be able to carry something forward. You will be able to understand some aspects which you must include into your study routine that will help you to clear prelims. So this video is going to be very much important for the serious, very genuine candidates who really want to clear prelims. Let me tell you that when I appeared for UPC prelims in 2019, since 2019 I was able to clear prelims till 2022 every time, and even I gave 3 Indian Forest Service interviews and I cleared third attempt with All India rank 127. I was able to clear civil services examination with All India rank 542, and I also secured 8th rank in UPC CAPF assistant commandant examination in 2019, my very first attempt. So my purpose here to tell you about this is that I had some strategy, I had some approach while studying, and that helped me to secure good marks in prelims or mains. So what you should do in the next 4 to 5 months, let me tell you. First of all, I believe that you all people have already jotted down your resources, the resources which are comprehensive, the resources which ensure that the questions which are being asked in the examination, in the prelims examination, at least most of them can be located to these resources. For example, for polity, you know Lakshmikant is there, right? For modern history, you know Spectrum. For geography, you know questions heavily come from NCRTs. When you know that for science and technology, you can find the questions which are framed from the articles which are there in the Hindu or Indian Express. So you know that state of the art technologies or the keywords which are very new, the keywords or the concept which are there in the news, those are asked. So there could be prominent space missions, there could be newer technologies which have been invented recently and those have changed the discourse, those can be also asked. So you know that there are few things which cover your syllabus, your portion, or the number of questions which are asked in examinations optimally, comprehensively. You first choose those resources. Now, those people who are really scared of prelims, who are consistently failing in prelims, I should say that you start preparing for prelims from January itself. Now, there are two things. There are two types of students. First, those who are consistently lacking the ability to clear CSAT examination. Second, there are aspirants who are failing in GS. The students which belong to engineering backgrounds, students belonging or who have already prepared for some quantitative aptitude or gate examination or engineering aptitude, they are able to solve the reasoning, the quantitative or mathematical part of CSAT paper, because we know that CSAT is playing very tricky role. CSAT is actually responsible for lowering the cutoff every year, because the difficulty of the CSAT is increasing year by year. Even the students from engineering backgrounds are failing in CSAT. So I would say, and you know that in CSAT there are two parts. First is passages, second is reasoning or quantitative aptitude, you can say, or some arithmetic. So there are people who are very much comfortable with passage but they are scared of this part, or there are people who are comfortable with this part or and they are not comfortable with passages because passages are more comprehensive or abstract. There are students who are comfortable with CSAT but they are not comfortable with GS, because during the examination they are not able to have the clarity about the questions, they are not having the clarity about the options which are there in the questions, or they are not able to remember what is exactly answer or from where the question is being asked and where from which source I could answer these questions. Some questions are out of belief, they are not able to understand what kind of questions is this. So most of the candidates believe that there are only 30 or 40% questions which are directly linked to the syllabus or which are directly asked from your standard textbook. But let me tell you, the more you read those books, the more you have understanding, the more you have command over the content, you can certainly utilize that knowledge indirectly to solve other questions. You are able to have the intellectual cases during paper. So the more you solve, the more you revise, that is directly proportional to more number of questions you can solve during examination. So remove that impression that how much you study, you will be able to knowing only 30 or 40 questions and rest are the chances you need to take. But these chances are not, it's not like that the chances are not in our hand. Actually, these chances are very much related to your preparations. So the more you study, the more you strategize your preparation, that is certain, that is going to certainly help you during examination. Now let me focus upon these papers one by one. So first, understand you have CSAT paper. In CSAT, two things are very important. First, paragraph. Second, quantitative or reasoning, I would say, or arithmetic. So we are able to see that sometimes paragraphs are very difficult. When paragraphs are difficult, you are not able to select, because in these cases paragraphs are very abstract, not easy to comprehend. These paragraphs are not easy to comprehend. So if the question is what is the most critical inference, and let's say there are four options, 1, 2, 3, 4, and you know that if there is a passage, okay, or there is a comprehension text is given where there are two paragraphs. Let's say here is one paragraph, second is this paragraph, and you know that you got the idea that these two options, first option talks about this passage and second option talks about this passage, you cannot select between these two passages. So these two paragraphs or these two options are very much similar. Sometimes these two options talk the same thing. You can easily eliminate 3 and 4, but you cannot eliminate between these two options, and this happens in most of the cases when the paragraphs are very critical, paragraphs are very comprehensive, very abstract, and you are not able to deduce your answer. So what is the way to tackle this thing, especially when the comprehension is very difficult? Let me tell you, two things will definitely help you to overcome this problem. First is your previous year's paragraphs, and second is your newspaper. I have observed that those people who read newspaper daily and they make notes out of the newspaper, they find paragraphs very easy to solve. Why I'm telling that? Because most of the time when you read the Hindu newspaper, the articles are a bit complex, but you get the habit of understanding those complex articles when you make notes out of those articles. That habit helps you to improve your comprehension. You are able to digest entire article, because when you analyze particular article, whether it is important from prelims point of view, mains point of view, or what kind of questions would be formed on this article, what are the positive, what are the negatives, what are the way forward, what is the data given in this particular article, that thing really helps you to improve your comprehension, improve your understanding about the paragraphs. So never ever miss reading newspapers, and I would suggest you to adopt the style of making notes when you read newspaper or when any other books. Have pen and paper with you. I have always utilized this way of studying newspapers or of studying any other textbook. I always make notes out of the newspaper or textbook. So these things, believe me, will really help you. Second, what you do, you take previous year's questions paper, you separate the paragraphs from previous year's questions paper. Without looking at the answer key, you try to solve those paragraphs, those paragraph based questions. Then you look at the answer key, you check whether you were right or wrong. If you were wrong, then look at the right answer and relate that thing with your understanding about that comprehension, about that passage. So how it has actually interpreted, how how the answer was supposed to be. Where did you lack the understanding about the paragraph? And what are the important keywords which are mentioned there in the questions? And what is the answer? So you relate those questions asked and the answers given in the answer key. So you try this. When you initially try for paragraphs, you would be able to, you would not understand in very first instances, but as you go on reading paragraphs, then trying first by yourself and then looking at the answer keys and then analyzing where it went wrong, that thing will help you to have a particular mindset, to have a particular approach of solving paragraphs or comprehension. So believe me, you need not to do more than this. You just adopt these two ways, you will be able to clear CSAT. But let me tell you, these things cannot be done only in the last moment. So if you do this thing in last 1 to 2 months and you can expect that you will be able to clear CSAT very easily, that is wrong, my friend. So you should start this at least 5 to 6 months before. Those people who are really scared of CSAT, throughout their preparation, 8 to 10 months, every day they should devote at least some minutes of their preparations to these two things. Because if you practice this consistently, that will certainly help you to clear CSAT. Because once you get the confidence is key to clear the CSAT, because you know that, you know the approach, you know the way how to clear CSAT paper. So those people who find it CSAT very difficult, I would say start today itself. Adopt this approach of solving CSAT. So this is about paragraphs. Now second is how to approach quantitative or reasoning based questions or arithmetic based questions. Let me clear one thing here. There are many questions, I would say more than 60% of the questions from arithmetic portions which are similar pattern based. There are Venn diagram based questions, there are time and distance based questions, there are work based questions, there are LCM and SCF based questions, there are permutation and combination based questions. So these questions, blood relations questions are there, watch clock based questions are there. So these questions are typical questions which find their place in question papers of CSAT frequently. So first thing is, try to identify the most asked questions and their patterns. First of all, you will have the list of the topics from which the arithmetic based questions are asked. For example, I would say there are Venn diagram based questions, or there are work based questions, right? Or there are LCM and SCF based questions. So what you can do, first you collect this arithmetic or reasoning based question for last 10 years. You make one PDF, you print those 10 years questions, you try to identify the most or the frequently asked questions and their type. Now you give those questions first priority. So how you can do that? You can refer to one quantitative aptitude or reasoning based resource from the market. So you can buy it from any coaching institute. And what you do, you know that most of the quantitative aptitude or reasoning based books will have same topics. So there would be number system. So number system questions are also very common. So there would be number system chapter, SCF and LCM chapter, then a ratio or interest. So these topics would be there. Now in each chapter you have formulae and solved questions. For these topics, the frequently asked topics, you try to read formulae and solved questions. When you read these formulae, you try to remember these formulas, then you solve the solved questions, you understand and study the solved questions in that book. When you do that, after that you come to these questions which are there in previous years questions paper. You solve those questions paper in that 10-year question bank. You write shortcuts there, you write formulae there. Likewise, you cover most of the frequently asked topics. And for those questions who are not you are not able to get the solution, look at the solutions provided by any coaching institute or any resource for previous year's questions. So first you are confirming that at least you are able to solve 60 to 70% repeated types of questions in arithmetic or reasoning portion of your CSAT paper. Now for rest of the chapters, you refer to that standard reasoning book, you read formulae, you remember formulae, and you look at the solved questions. Now for reasoning and arithmetic, you need constant practice. You should study reasoning periodically. So you can devote at least 30 minutes every day. You can solve few questions of every topic. Let's say today you solve number system, tomorrow you can solve LCM and SCF questions. So every day you give time, because CSAT is such a topic which demands not much time, but you should give at least few minutes out of your preparations every day consistently. That will help you to get command over the subject. That will help you to develop that logic and understanding about this paper. And you have one standard book for reasoning, and you have previous year's questions bank, and you are revising and repeating the same thing again and again every day. That will build your knowledge base. Now never forget that you need to appear for CSAT test every 15 days, or I would say those who really find it difficult, every week you should appear for test. In last 3 to 4 months, whatever the command or whatever, if you are very comfortable in CSAT or not, you should give test of CSAT, because nowadays the CSAT difficulty is increasing, and I think that will remain as one of the trend. So you cannot actually take a chance in CSAT. So in last 3 to 4 months, every 15 days or every week at least you should give one CSAT test, and you should make sure that you are not going to fail in these subjects and you are not going to waste your attempt. So this was about CSAT. So these are some few random thoughts about CSAT. In due course of time, I will again talk about CSAT and what are the things which you need to prepare. But for time being, you remember this: CSAT needs systematic approach, especially the students who are really lacking aptitude about it. Now, important thing is what happens, you are not able to get the idea during examination whether CSAT is difficult or whether quant is difficult or paragraphs are difficult. So what happens, few people only solve paragraphs because they find paragraphs very easy, and few students solve only reasoning or quantitative because they believe that they are very strong in this and they can easily and sure shot get good numbers in reasoning part, and so they will be able to clear. So meanwhile what happens, sometimes one portion is difficult, one is easy. So at least spare few minutes of your time on looking at other portion. So if you are comfortable in paragraphs, but also have a look at reasoning or quantitative part, because sometimes I have seen students don't look at other portions and they waste their time because they would have easily solved other portion of the paper. So whatever the strong area of CSAT paper you have, always look at both types of sections of CSAT. Also read paragraphs, also read questions which are there asked. So you, even if you waste 5 minutes in reading, I would say that will not be wasted at the end of the day. So that is one important thing about CSAT. In CSAT, I would say never ever solve long questions. Even if long questions are easy, it will take more time to read that questions and comprehend that questions. So those reasoning questions which are short, those paragraphs which are small, you read those questions and those paragraphs first. Even if you don't understand that question, and even if you don't uh, uh, take or don't decide about that particular question, still it is of no concern, because you will hardly waste your 5 to 10 seconds to read that question. But if you select, if you read such as smaller questions, and 2 to 3 questions you arrive at a conclusion that you can easily solve those, that would be really beneficial, rather than looking at the longer questions and spending more time on that questions. You should go for smaller question. And same for paragraphs. So if there are 2 paragraphs on one page, and you are able to find that one paragraph is small and other is bigger, you go for smaller paragraph. Believe me, this thing will really work during examination. Apart from that, everyone is having their own strategy, own approach. Those students who have certain approach in CSAT and they are able to clear CSAT consistently, they should go for that approach. But these things, whatever I'm telling, this thing help me, it will certainly help you to clear CSAT paper. Now let us look at GS and how you can ensure that you get more marks to clear prelims. First important thing I would like to stress upon is revision. I have seen students, most of the students who are not able to clear prelims, especially GS paper, is because they have not revised their resources enough number of times. So if you go and ask, they will say, I have revised polity during this 1 year at least, maximum twice, maximum 2 times. Okay, most of them would say, I have read Lakshmikant polity 1 time only comprehensively. So first thing is revision. So you would find there are a lot of students who prepare for examinations, but they feel revision as a boring. They don't have a revision plan. They don't have revision strategy. They don't find it interesting to revise. So revision is one thing which helps you to get the clarity, which helps you to remember, which helps you to understand the content. But lesser the revision, there would be more problems in actual examination, because you would not able to remember, recall, or you would not be able to eliminate the questions. You will be not able to get the clarity about the questions and the options which are asked. So revision is very crucial. So remember, for next 4 to 5 months, have target. You will revise that particular resource 3 times, 4 times, 5 times. The more you revise, the more chances are there that you will clear the prelims examination. Remember, revision is directly proportional to clearing prelims examination. The more you revise, the more you will be able to solve questions during prelims examination. So fix target now. For every subject, how many revisions you would do? You make a chart. Now you divide next 4 to 5 months, and you have an analysis, which subject you find it difficult, which subject you are able to understand more easily, which subject you need to give more emphasis upon. I believe that you have already done previous year's questions, papers analysis, and you know that which portion is important, because as we all know that there is a core syllabus which will give you more marks. So you need to devote more time to that core syllabus rather than studying for periphery. So you know that based on the previous year's questions paper, you do the cost benefit analysis. Which subjects you find it more frequently questions are asked, you devote more time to those, and accordingly you do the cost benefit analysis. So the revision is first thing which you should religiously do. Every day you should devote some time of your routine to revisions. So one thing I find is that the students or aspirants do not revise. They should revise periodically. They should have quality revision plans. They should divide their time, and accordingly they should allocate time to each and every subject. And while allocating the time, they should also do the cost benefit analysis and which subject demand how much time. So first is revision. Second, whatever actual examination demands, you should do that before itself. For example, during examination you need to solve those 100 questions during 2 hours. So you should before itself solve questions paper and look at the time management. You go through the experience of solving 100 questions within that particular time, and you face your fear before itself. You try to eliminate the options, you try to take chances. So when you go through the process of paper solving, so I would say tests are very important. So solving test before itself. So you solve the test, you can utilize the test. For example, if you're referring any test series, it can be Insight IS or Vision IS or Next IS or Vajram or Drishti IS, whatever test you are solving, there would be test on static syllabus as well. So you can effectively utilize those tests. So what you can do is when you read polity, then you solve test series which are based upon polity. So that will help you to revise your static portions. At the same time, that will help you how much command, how much things you are able to remember or recall. So you utilize test to check your time management, to check your stress, to check your elimination, to check your clarity of the content during the examination. That thing is very important. Third thing I have observed is people are not able to decide how much questions they should attempt during examination. So they end up solving less questions. They believe that they have more accuracy. They believe that whatever the questions they have solved in the examination, for example, if they have solved 71 or 73, and they believe that even if the even if 23 questions, let's say, they nullify each other and remaining 50, I would get 100 marks and I would qualify. So that logic is basically wrong, because what happens during the examination, our mentality is very different, and it is near impossible to get 100% accuracy during examinations, because most of the time we see that there are silly mistakes which are committed by us. So I believe that you solve tests, and through that you decide how much amount of questions you need to solve. So for me, my personal experience was, in my very first attempt I was able to solve 87 questions. I qualified prelims. In second attempt I solved 97 questions. I was able to clear both cutoffs. In next I solved 100. I cleared both cutoffs. Last also I solved 100. I cleared both cutoffs. But here I would say this thing can be different for every aspirant. But I believe that solving more number of questions benefits most of the time. because after all it's a mathematic, it's a arithmetic, it's a probability. But remember other aspect as well. If there are four options, and if you are studying nicely for last 1 to 2 years, you have enough understanding about the content. So during examination, if you are able to eliminate 3 and 4 options clearly and you stuck between 1 and 2, I believe that you should go for chance. Why? Because you utilize and apply your knowledge in eliminating at least one of them. Sometimes you may take a chance based on any logic, but at the end of the day that will work because you have studied for last 2 years. You know, you apply some logic, and I believe that their presumption is that you have studied nicely. I mean, you have studied with utmost honesty, proper strategy, proper resources. You have revised. Even if you don't know answer to these questions directly, you will be able to arrive at some conclusion, because when you eliminate 2 or when you eliminate 3, I would suggest you go for attempting that questions. So that thing will develop through practice. That thing will develop when you solve more number of tests, and then you understand where to take chances. But one general thing you can carry from this is always go for higher number of questions during examinations. So that was another thing which I wanted to tell you. Now what happens when you solve GS? Then there are, in the first readings, when you read, you are very confident about some questions, so you can solve in first go itself. And there are questions which are difficult, or there are questions which lack which actually need some understanding, or which there are questions which need some logic. You need to remember or recall something, or you need to work out something in order to arrive at a conclusion, and it will take time. So you can skip that questions for the next round. So I would suggest you go for at least 2 round. You go for at least 2 round. So in first round, you go for those questions who are simple and straightforward questions. Simple and straightforward questions. And those questions which are difficult or time demanding, in these questions, don't don't write answers. Don't write answers. Only eliminate options. Only eliminate few options. So when you solve, or when you go through all the questions in the first reading, in second reading, when you look at the remaining questions, those questions which needed time, you give your time to those questions, so you can mark the question. So the questions which you solve, you can mark like this way. The questions which need thinking, you can mark this way. The questions you find it difficult, you can mark this. Everyone can have their own notations here. But remember, go through questions paper at least twice. Fifth things, when you make circle in answer sheet, always verify whether you are making the circle in front of the right question. Most of the time it happens that there would be at least 2 to 3 questions where we end up rounding wrong circle. So that thing you always remember. Now in question paper, we know that questions are section based. So you would find economic questions, polity questions together, economic questions together, IR questions together. And what happens if there is a polity portion of the questions in one set? So there are 4 sets, A, B, C, D. So there are chances that polity questions will be first in set A and you find it difficult, and your confidence get down, so that and actually that thing impacts your confidence further. So if you are confident, but there is other side to this thing also. What happens, I always found polity questions easier for me, and i had I had always revised polity, and I had a strong grip over polity content, so I always find it confident and comfortable to go with polity questions. So I would always start with polity questions. So there would be more than 15 questions. So if I would solve those questions, I would always feel confident that I have achieved more accuracy in this question, and that would give me more confidence. So this is also one of the approach. If you study particular subject well, then you start with those questions. That will certainly help. Now another important aspect in GS is current affairs. There are a lot of students, a lot of aspirants who actually are confused about prelims preparation. Few believe that the prelims preparation is only about reading current affairs, or there are few students who completely ignore current affairs and they focus upon current static portions and the syllabus and the standard textbook. But I believe that both things need time, both things need preparations. So you balance your preparation in such a way that you are not giving disproportionate to time to one part or other part. We have seen that sometimes UPC ask a lot of questions on current affairs. Many times we see that there are less questions on current affairs, but we cannot take a chance. We need to prepare current affairs at the same time static portions. So the best way to prepare current affairs is to read newspaper at the same time referring one monthly magazine or booklet. Because when you read current affairs, if particular issue is there again and again in the newspaper, and if any conceptual questions, or for example in IR we are able to see that location based questions are asked, or agreement based questions are asked, or the issue which is there in IR, frequently there can be some agreement or there can be some border issues. These questions are repeatedly asked in prelims examination. So if you read newspaper and every day you read that particular article again and again, there is no need to prepare extra. You will be able to solve questions based on that understanding only. So I would say you read newspaper, you ponder over the newspaper, you try to remember things which are there in the newspaper, and apart from that you read one monthly magazine. That should suffice your current affairs preparations. And at the end of the day, you know that there are prelim 365 and other material that can be utilized for your revision purpose. But you prepare current affairs from initial days itself. You read newspaper religiously, you make notes of the newspaper of important topics, and you refer one monthly magazine. You would be able to cover current affairs easily, and you should not take chance in these aspects. So the current affairs is another important aspect of our preparation. So for next 4 to 5 months, you need to devise your strategy. If you are really comfortable in one subject or in one paper, you need to focus upon other as well. But always remember that the subject which you find comfortable, you should also revise that, though you would revise that with less intensity, but yes, both needs revision. So sometimes what happen, when we have some confidence about one subject, we may commit some blunders during the examination. So take both subjects seriously, both papers seriously, but prepare according to the requirement. So if you need to give or devote time on paper 2, that is CSAT, you should give time to CSAT. You should not think that everyone is preparing for GS and I should not give time to paper 2. So that would be the wrong strategy. So next 4 to 5 months, these are some of the things: solving questions paper, revising your syllabus frequently, revising quality, then reading newspaper, preparing the current affairs. So what you can do is, for current affairs, the current affairs till December 2023, and after December, January to your exam day, let's say 2024, you can cover current affairs in two parts. Those who have not covered current affairs, they can cover in two parts. You can make notes out of the newspaper and booklet, and you can revise that. So that will really help you. So preparing current affairs in next 4 to 5 months, revising your standard textbook, having the strategy and the plan, divide total 4 to 5 months into different slots, and accordingly allocate weekly or daily time to your targets. Solve test papers, focus on the time management, focus upon elimination technique, arrive at the number of questions you would attempt in the examinations. You set 15 days before itself target for your prelims paper. Let's say prelims paper is there in month of May, then around 15th May or 14th May should be your target to finish your syllabus. So likewise, you give advanced target to yourself, and every day you have achievable targets that will motivate you to study more for prelims examination. That will motivate you to cover your targets. Have quality approach towards revision. You revise effectively for 30 minutes, then you take a break, then you revise. So prepare your subjects with quality, and I believe that you would certainly clear prelim examination. So let me tell you, I am going to start prelims 2024 strategy series on my YouTube channel. So you subscribe to my channel, you provide link of my YouTube channel to your friends so that they will get benefit, and I will upload every day or every other day video on my this channel about prelims 2024 strategy, so that it will help most of the aspirants, especially who are studying on their own, who are studying in rural areas, or who are studying in urban areas, but they lack access to the coaching guidance or other kinds of guidance. So I believe that I will be able to contribute to their preparations. So all the best to your preparations of prelims. Once again, happy new year. Thank you so much.